Let's catch up on the progress on our historic 1876 remodel. Our company's made a bunch of progress on this historic 1876 remodel and addition project. We're working with local architect Hugh Jefferson Randolph. Hugh's really known for taking beautiful historic structures, keeping that historic nature on the front of the house, but adding some fun and modern architecture to the back, which can't be seen from the street. And that's where we are here right now. We're in the back of the house in a very modern addition. We're off the kitchen, which is going to be behind us, and we've added a mudroom and a family dining room space with an incredible view of the state capitol. We're here in Austin, Texas. Below us is a master bedroom and master bath addition. And then the other space that's being added to this house is up in the attic, which was unused for the last century and a half. We had a giant attic space that we're converting into a master bedroom with a cool dormer on the back of the house and a wraparound window for the master bath, which has an incredible view of the Capitol also. A couple things that we had to do in this house which are a little different than traditional remodeling. When you're dealing with a 150-year-old house, you've got some really old framing that needs to be brought up to modern standards for structure and code. But we wanted to maintain the historic look on the inside, so we're dealing with very tight spaces. We use some very modern framing techniques with modern materials like LSL and LVL materials, as well as steel to keep the structure intact and structurally sound, but also look like the house was originally built in 1876. The other thing I want to mention is this big opening that we had to cut through the 2-foot thick, solid masonry, load-bearing walls on this house. This was a bit of a puzzle that we had to put together with a site meeting with the engineer, the architect, my team, and the steel guys from Drop House. We used tube steel that we're going to bury inside the walls, and then that tube steel has some saddles on it to carry the wood headers. Very interesting, and when we're all done, we'll be able to bring the mason back, wrap that all together, and it'll look like it was originally built this way. The next thing I want to mention is this beautiful 2-story wraparound porch on the side of the house. It had seen a lot of neglect over the last few decades, and we had a lot of wood rot that we had to deal with, especially structural wood that was supporting the first floor on that. We started by repouring the concrete floor on the first floor, and then instead of using the wood to support the structure, we put steel columns in place. That was a big change, and I think that this is going to give this porch another century of life without problems. We'll come back later and wrap those either with the original columns if we can repair those, or rebuild some new ones to look like the original ones. The last thing I want to mention in this video is the mechanical upgrades on this house. We've upgraded all the systems, the plumbing, mechanical, and electrical, and we had to do that, of course, to modern code, but we want that to look like some of that was original to the house. So we've had to do a few things different on this house than we might do in a new house. Because of the 2-foot thick masonry walls getting replastered in many areas and not having stud walls, we've gone to floor outlets in many places. We've also had to be real creative on where the plumbing fits in the house and trying to keep that within a very tight floor system. In fact, in one spot, we couldn't figure out how to get a drain down, so we actually are exposing a cast iron drain right here off the kitchen. We're gonna make it part of the features of the house, and I think that story behind the remodel is gonna be fun for our homeowners to talk about in the future. You don't often get to renovate a house that's a century and a half old. This has been a really fun project. Stay tuned for future videos over here. We've got a lot more to come. And if you wanna follow some of the progress, check out my Instagram feed or the architect's, Hugh Jefferson Randolph. We're gonna be always doing #West 10th over here. We'll see you next time on The Build Show.